Hare Krishna, Namaste.
Chapter 13 is entitled as Kshetrajna Yoga, also as Prakriti Purusha Vibhaga Yoga, also as Prakriti Purusha Viveka Yoga.
Summary Part 2. Out of 5 topics that discussed in this chapter, we summarized the first one, Deha Swarupam, the nature of the Atma. Now we will continue to the second one, Atmapti Hetu, that explains the qualities which are instrumental to knowing the self. Arjuna continued to ask Krishna, just as association with the body brings about modifications such as like and dislike, pleasure and pain to the self, do any virtuous qualities emerge at all that will benefit the Atma? In response to this question, Krishna said, when Sattva Guna increases in the body, due to its association, the self acquires good qualities like Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, etc. These qualities are very useful for securing clear knowledge of the self and its direct vision. Arjuna prayed, could you please explain those qualities which are instrumental to the direct vision of the self? And Krishna continued to explain, list out those 20 qualities and explain them. Let's revise those 20 qualities. Amanitvam, freedom from superiority complex, which makes one look down on superiors and other great persons. Number 2, Adambitva, is not practicing dharma for the purpose of winning name, fame, prestige as a virtuous person. Number 3, Ahimsa, to not cause injury or hurt others by any means. Number 4, Kshantir, keeping the mind peaceful and free from anger, etc., even towards those who harm us. Number 5, Arjavam, being sincere and honest in dealing with others. Number 6, Acharya Upasanam, doing service to the preceptor, Guru, as one would do to God. Number 7, Saucham, purity of mind, speech and body. Number 8, Stairyam, firm faith in the teachings of the scriptures. Number 9, Atma Vinigraha, turning the mind away from all things other than the self. Number 10, Indriyartheshu Vairagyam, cultivating distaste from all objects other than the self. Number 11, Anahankara Evacha, freedom from the misconception that the body is the self. Number 12, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam, contemplating on the defects that caused by birth, death, old age and disease. Number 13, asaktir, not being possessive towards things which do not belong to oneself, that is, non-attachment to things other than the self. Number 14, putra dhara grahadeshu anubhiswangaha, relying on one's son, wife, home, etc. only to the extent necessary for the purpose of works ordained in the Shastras. Number 15, Ishtanishtopapatteshu nityam cha samachittatvam, maintaining equanimity of mind in the face of desirable and undesirable happenings. Number 16, Mai chananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini, devotion to me, Krishna, without any consideration of the fruits. Number 17, Vivekta desha sevitvam, residing in a secluded place, meaning choosing a place which is favorable for one's spiritual progress to cultivate these good qualities. Number 18, Aratir Jana Samsadi, having no liking for non-believers of Shastra and or non-believer of God. Number 19, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, steadfast contemplation on the knowledge relating to the self, Atma. Lastly, number 20, Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam, reflecting on the true knowledge. So these are the 20 virtuous qualities helps attaining the direct vision of the self. They are termed as jnana, knowledge. The rest all considered to be ajnana, ignorance. That means anything besides these are considered to be inimical to the true knowledge. So this concludes the second subject that was discussed in this chapter, Atma Apti Hetu. The third subject matter is Atma Vishodhana, the nature of the pure self. Here, Krishna explains about the Atma. The individual self is without a beginning or end, Anadi. It is subservient to the Supreme Lord, Paramatma. It is big by virtue of its knowledge. Also, Krishna explained, by nature, the Atma is neither Sat nor Asat. Then we also learned that Atma, in its liberated state, can perform activities like the Supreme Lord. Without legs, can walk. Without hands, can grasp. Without eyes, can see. Without ears, can hear. The Supreme Lord does not require the help of Indriyas. Likewise, the liberated soul doesn't require Indriyas to perform these activities. Arjuna, the self encased in the different bodies are all of same kind. There is no distinction between the selves. For example, the self of a Deva the self of a Manushya, etc. They are all same by nature. The selves are all sentient beings, capable of comprehending the body. The ignorant see it variously as Deva, Manushya, and so forth, because they only see the body. But the truth is, it is the Atma that supports the body. The self which supports must be different from the body that is being supported. Let me explain to you in another way. The self swallows the food we eat. That causes the transformation of the food we eat into other forms. From this, it can be seen that the self which swallows is different from the food that is being swallowed. Hence, it is easy to understand that the self which causes the transformation is different from the entity which undergo the transformation. Also, it is the knowledge that pervades everywhere and illuminates the object. It is only knowledge that provides the awareness that this is a lamp, this is the sun, etc. Darkness obstructs the contact between the Indriya and its subject. Dispelling the darkness, the light of the lamp, etc., affects the contact between or establishes the contact between the Indriya and its subject. So we can understand the Atma is different from Prakriti, which is being known. So that summarizes the third subject, Atma Vishodhanam. And the fourth is Bandha Hetuhu, that is the cause of bondage. We learned that the Prakriti and Purusha, that is the material nature in the form of body, and Jivatma, the living entity, are without a beginning. The relationship between the two is also without a beginning. The modifications like desire, hatred, etc., experienced by the self, and the qualities like pridelessness, etc., arise only out of association with the Prakriti. The Prakriti transforms itself into the body, and the Indriyas, when engaged in activities, the self, the Atma, experiences the pleasure and pain. So Krishna says to Arjuna that by nature, the Atma doesn't have to experience any of these things. Its very nature, it should be free of these experiences, rather fully immersed in bliss, Ananda. But instead, it is so much dwelled into this Prakriti and experiences these happiness and sorrow which are brought by the three gunas of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, causes miserable condition. So, the cause of bondage is only the attachment to the pleasure and pain affected by the gunas. And lastly, the subject that being discussed is Vivekam. That is, how to see the differences between the body and the Atma. So here Krishna says to Arjuna that the selves residing in the various bodies are all similar in their nature there is no differences. What we see as different is only on the external body. So a man who can discriminate can understand that when the body perishes, the Atma does not perish. Therefore Arjuna understands that one who perceives all the selves resides in various bodies, Devata body, Manushya body, whatever it may be, that they are equal in the form of knowledge, does not harm himself by his mind. He becomes liberated. On the other hand, he who does not perceive in this manner that all Atmas are equal, which are in the form of knowledge, will hurt by his own mind, which means he get caught up in samsara, the ocean of transmigration, repeated birth and death. Also, Arjuna understands that the cause of all the activities of the embodied self is only because of its association with the Prakriti. The embodied self performs certain action out of desire. Some actions it does out of anger, and some others because of sorrow. In its nature, the self does not have anger, desire, etc. These arise only because of its conjunction, that is the association with Prakriti. Based on this, Arjuna inquired further on this topic. Krishna, it is appropriate to state that as the self is devoid of the gunas, it does not engage itself in any action. How is it that the self residing in the body is not tainted by the nature of the body? For that question, Krishna gave examples. Ether, Akasha, pervades everywhere, but it never gets tainted by the qualities of the substance with which it comes into contact. The reason is because ether is extremely subtle. Similarly, the self is in the body, but the qualities of the body do not taint the self. The self is even more subtler than the ether. Then Arjuna asks another question. The self, the Atma, is atomic in form and resides in some corner, that is, in the region of the heart, in the body. How does he experiences the sensation of pleasure and pain that are generated in other parts of the body? Because he resides in one corner of the body, but the pain in one's toe or pains in one's head, how can he experience those things? Krishna said, Arjuna, the sun is in one corner somewhere in the vast sky till it illuminates the whole world. In the same way, the self illuminates everything by the light of his knowledge, the consciousness. Like the sun which illumines is different from the world which is illuminated, similarly, it is easy to understand the self which illumines is different from the body illuminated. And after this, Krishna concluded the chapter saying that one who discerns through the eye of discrimination the difference between the body and the self, and the various qualities like pridelessness, etc., which becomes the cause of liberation, will attain the bliss of self-realization. So this chapter 13, Kshetra and Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, covered these 5 very important subject matters: the nature of the body, the 20 qualities that one needs to develop to attain self-realization, to have the direct vision of the self. Then the nature of the self was explained, and the cause of the bondage between Prakriti and Purusha was also explained. And then finally, how to see the difference between body and Atma, how they are different individual entity, was also discussed. We have spent quite a bit of time in this chapter because of the subjects which are quite very important for one's spiritual progress. It is very, very important that we understand the body, the self, their differences, what are the qualities that's needed for one to develop to understand the self, and what has caused us to be in this situation, so we can get out of this situation by cultivating those 20 qualities. So it's an important chapter, so please make sure that if you have missed any of the slokas, to go back and complete hearing them as well. So that covers the summary of chapter 13. Next, we will enter into chapter 14 from the next session. Namaste. Hare Krishna.